All right, here we are. It's Christmas time. Actually, Thanksgiving's in 2 days. So I'm gonna get a head start on the Christmas Story leg lamp project. If you follow along, you'll see that I did it from a mannequin's lower half. I cast some plaster forms and started rocking it out. This project comes complete, of course, with a, I don't know if you can see it on here, a light bulb up top, but also I wired in a Bluetooth speaker underneath, so this will play music for you. I think it's the perfect holiday way to end the year. So yeah, let's just get started. I'll run you through, I'm gonna show you a different clip from making forms. There's no sense in remaking the forms. This is an old project I'm reviving. I'm just gonna do it step by step and improve a couple things from the first time I did it years ago. So yeah, let's just get started. It's Christmas time. It's a major award. All right, here we are. We're getting started. These are the old plaster forms, plaster repairs. This is what I used to cast them. Here's what I cast them out of. It's the reason I say there's no sculpting needed. This was a mannequin lower half. So I cut the legs off of it and I saved one. Let me get rid of these here, hang on. I saved this one leg, filled the top with expandifoam to make it solid, shaped it to the shape I wanted it. Now what I did, was draw a line with a marker at the widest points. That way I built the frame, cast the plaster, built the frame up above it, recast it. So this is both of the negatives off of that form right there. I'm gonna line the shoes in the butt area with bolt heads. I cut the threads off with a big set of bolt cutters. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Most all my stuff's already prepped up from years ago. And the leg itself is going to be made, or not made, but I'm gonna have 1/2-inch nuts through there, small area with 1/4-inch nuts, so it looks like a small garter going across to the top of the leg. The shoe, I don't really like the shoe area. I eyeballed it different. I'm gonna scrape this out and try to eyeball it or try to form it in a little bit better just with carving the plaster out. We'll see. These are all adjustments I can make on the fly. So yeah, let's just get started and let's do this. I'm gonna bring you in and show you exactly what I'm doing, lining stuff up, getting all my bolts. I'm gonna start with the bolts. The solid form of the shoes in the butt, I'm going to do first. I'm gonna grind them in pretty much to a polished finish and put them back in. Yeah, I've split them in half. Put them back in, line all the nuts in. That way the nuts all line up as close as possible. I might have to cut some of the nuts and get them fit in and welded. But yeah, I'll show you that as we go along. Let's get started here. I'll link in the description on how I cast the form for One Last Letter. The other, one of the other sculptures I've done, the only one I've actually documented on video on how I cast the forms. It's the same every which way. Well, not the same. Sometimes they get quite complex getting them fit in if stuff isn't completely round so you can hit your widest points. But this is, so instead of recasting this, because I've already got the forms here from years ago, I saved them. So, you know, they're reusable. Yeah, so I'll show you. I'll link that out to how I did the other forms. It's the same exact theory, same exact steps once you see it. All right, the first thing I'm doing on these old forms, you can see over here where I dug this one out a little bit because I eyeballed a pointier tip on it. If you can see this, it's kind of a rounded tip. I want a sexier pointed tip. So I did it in real time the last time I was doing it, and to get these back into forms, for some reason, I forget why I had to, I dug that out. So I'm going to try to somewhat match this side to that side and eyeball it in just a little closer. I'm gonna have to grind the final details. But this always these forms get me 3/4 of the way there all the time anyhow. So yeah, let's just get started and we'll get to rock and roll and find a common point to measure from. I'm gonna try using 3/8 bolt heads, and I have this big pair of bolt cutters. I gotta cut some more off here soon. But I cut the threads off using bolt cutters, that way they'll all stack in real nice. I get these local at Rural King, which is the same as the Tractor Supply. You buy bolts by the pound. Any of your farm implements will carry it that way. Just the best way that I've currently found to do it without having parts laser cut, which is the ultimate goal. I just don't have the money to have pallets of them sitting around. But here we go. I'll just start stacking them in. making all the mating surfaces line up. And I'm gonna go up above, like I'm looking for right in this area, right in here, to top it off. So I'm gonna run them slightly past it. That way when I weld everything, I can cut and trim the actual shoe in and make it look like a true shoe top. All right, what I've got going on here is an old battery terminal from a vehicle. It's not an old one, it's just one I had laying around. I hooked my welding grand clamp to it. I've stripped the end. Yes, I know it's not perfect, but it's how I do it. And then I'm gonna screw these, I got some screws running through it, and I'm gonna screw it right into the wood here, and I'm gonna reach over with one hand, hold this, and start tack welding it. Now I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to create a series of tack welds that will go all around the perimeter, but in kind of a spider web type pattern. Pay attention while I'm doing it. It'll probably be a fast forward by the time I edit it. Trying to eliminate warpage is what I'm trying to do. Anybody that welds knows as you're welding, you'll get warpage. With 1,000 little pieces or however many there is in here, I'll end up with a lot, but I've learned with boxing it in from the exterior with like spider webbing looking, it helps hold the form because there's so many different angles here. It does help hold the form. So let's just get started and make it happen. Now that I've got the insides all welded up, I'm going to come in here with a grinder with a cutoff wheel, and I'm going to try to keep it estimately right. I'm going to score the line, probably come in from this angle a lot. Whatever it is, anyhow, I'm going to cut it even with the top of my form here, and like where it's broke out, I'm going to eyeball it, was what I was trying to say, on both sides, and then I'll start joining the shoe and then filling in the details around in there and see what happens. All right, what I'm doing here, looking at these now that I got them trimmed, the one side is extremely higher than the other, but I like the angle, so I'm going to build out another row here and make it all match in. This one here will need one more up in here, I believe. So yeah, I'll add one more here, and I'm gonna add a whole nother row right there, and let's just get going with it. All right, here we go. The two halves of the shoes, the high heels are out of the form. And what I'm going to do here is just roughly try to make sure I'm within close to the same dimensions. And that's all you can do, is just get it close and then start figuring out what line that I want to cut it down, smooth it in. And I'm going to weld most all this solid. I'm going to tack weld a lot of the seams where they meet. I'm going to fill in gaps with just filler metal, and I'm going to weld everything solid except for most of that seam, because I'm going to split it back in half, lay these back in the form, and then start laying the nuts up. I guess the nuts to the butt is what I'm going to have to do here. And yeah, let's just get rolling. I'll give you a bird's eye view here. Hopefully it's close enough and the camera will focus. And yeah, let's just do this. You can use paper or strap. I'm using our ratchet strap here. This is my lowest point. These are my highest points on the back. So I'm just going to draw a straight line from here. Getting ready to grind these getting ready to grind it all into a rough form. But I welded a pipe on the bottom here because I've got a pipe vise, a pivoting adjustable pipe vise. So I'll be able to clamp this in and hit all the different angles that I want. Makes it real easy. Got it on bottom. I'm not going to worry. I'm just going to get this smooth because nobody will ever see the bottom. But I'm gonna get all this done up, polished out, smoothed in, roughed in, get it ready to go. Just thought I'd show you that before I get set up and get grinding. As I'm coming in on the final detail, not even final, this is just a very rough grind. I want this toe to be pointier, a little bit sexier looking. So I took a 1/2 inch bolt head, cut it smooth, and I'm gonna stick it right on here to have that toe poking out just a little bit. But I'm gonna weld it on, and then I'm gonna start shaping it out just as a filler piece right there is all it is. And I'll let you watch and see what I'm doing here. I'm sure that there's a better way to do this, but I buy bulk bolts from Rural King TSC, which I did find out just about these at TSC. They're more expensive than Rural King, so if you get a Rural King in the area, you can save, I think it was $1.50 a pound. I'd have to check it. Anyhow, what I do, I got these bigger bolt cutters, which need replaced. Put them in a, clamp them in a vise, clamp the thing down. I've got a longer piece of cheater pipe put to it. I was cut the bolt heads off that way I can get the weld down in there. And you can see here, hopefully you can see there, hopefully I got this in the right spot. Just cut those off, toss them out here in the pocket. I'm gonna soak them in vinegar, get rid of the zinc. I got like 12,000 of these things to do. Here's my bucket of vinegar that I routinely just keep changing it out, try to get the big crusty stuff off the top. Here's all those bolt heads I cut. Drop them right down in. Since I've got some extra vinegar here on hand, I'll go ahead and add an extra. All right, moving on this morning. I got the first half of the leg mostly in place. I'm ready to slice it off at the top, build this other side up, and then cut the top even and run the 1/4 inch nuts to make it look like the garter right before the butt. I'm leaving a 2-inch space from where the old weld line was. It's roundabouts. It's just eyeballing everything, really. But I'm gonna get all that cut in, trimmed in. I'll bring it in close so you can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna come in from the back side here, the inside of the form, and cut even with the top of the form with a slicer wheel. And I'll probably put a bigger blade on there just to get in there a little bit better. Yeah, I'll bring you in close, let you watch what I'm doing. I'm gonna slice this out, get this other side built back up, slice the top off. Let's rock and roll with it. All right, right in here you can see where my 2-inch gap, I estimated these and it ended up not going so well for me. So I'm gonna add some bolts back into here. Then I'm gonna come back and cut it a straight 2 inches all the way across. Use that to fill those in. I might play around with some of the nuts for the garter first to see if I can get, I don't know if it comes out to 2 1/8. Because of the nuts, the way they'll stack in, I might just roll with it. But yeah, I'm gonna play around with it. Final dimensions are in there. These are all mostly just guidelines, stuff you can follow to build your own. Just do it by eye. That's just usually the way I do it. I kind of make stuff up as I go, and now that I'm showing you how I do it, you'll be able to make stuff up on the go as you go too. Just don't tell people that and they'll think you're smart.